Since yesterday's video uploaded by Globku, a lot of us actually have a lot of questions in regards to the Connections build. Globku did a very good job in discussing what is in the build, but we are still left with questions because a lot of us are very dedicated and very keen, passionate players. Don't worry guys, I am here to get some of these questions answered for you. What's going on guys, it's your boy Poison here. Me, myself and I back at it again. If you are keen about Naruto Storm Connections content and news, be sure to drop a like on the channel and subscribe if you haven't, because it surely helps me out and I can reassure you that it will help you out in the future. Okay, with that out of the way, I actually messaged Globku asking him a few questions today because despite his video, a lot of you still have some questions in regards to how the tilts work, or just general questions about certain things that weren't mentioned. So I've made sure to ask some of these questions to Globku, and he said that he's always happy to answer some of my questions. I'll be sure to relay the information to you guys. Let's get started. So despite Globku's video, I said, rumors have stated that old characters still have their tilts. Is this correct? I'm assuming with the tilt input as well. Globku's response was, no, the old tilts are the second Jutsu, and at least that's the case with the Sasuke, the last Mifune and Rock Lee, the only old characters I tried. So basically, tilts are now the second Jutsu. That is something that's confirmed. Now, whether it's a case of they act like the tilts or not is a whole other being. So my follow-up question was, could you manage to use the second Jutsu as a way to escape combo pressure? His response was, that's the big question. I didn't find out about the second Jutsu until the end of the presentation, so I don't know if it works like a tilt skill. But all I tried says that it has Jutsu properties and not tilt properties. For instance, you can Jutsu with it and the tilt won't disappear. So what Globku means by this is that the properties of this second Jutsu is like regular traditional Jutsus, meaning that you may not be able to use it to escape guard pressure. However, you can switch tech with it and it will still remain on the field, which for a tilt, that's actually quite useful. Depending on how many inputs you do of this tilt or how it comes out, that'll be interesting. For characters that require multiple inputs for a full tilt to happen, like Danzo, he's got 2 hits for his. I don't know if it's going to do both hits, for example. That'll be really interesting to see in terms of how that works. But I really do appreciate Globku clarifying that to me. I asked Globku 2 more questions in regards to what he had played, and I asked, you mentioned the guard break pill being on cooldown. Is this the same for other items on the D-pad, or are they limited resources like Storm 4? I feel like the items is something that actually hasn't been talked about much, and when he said that the guard break pill is on cooldown rather than a limited resource, that had me questioning other items. However, this has been answered for us. This is Globku's answer right here. Only the guard break was on cooldown, that the rest had a limited number of uses like Storm 4. And then my second question to him was, have you noticed any changes in supports, like fixed support typings such as strike back or cover fire, or have they been removed? Globku's response was, so I didn't notice any type of support, but that's a hard question for me to answer because most of the time of that build was with the new characters and I don't know what types they are, or rather what they would be. What I can say for sure is that I didn't see any strike back, chakra charging, or dash cuts. But I didn't get hit by any ults, so maybe they're body shields? I don't know. They hid the character select screen from me, so I couldn't tell. My theory is that they remove support actions entirely, but this is only a theory. And actually, to be honest, I think Globku's theory is entirely credible. From what he has said, there is no sign of strike backs or chakra charging or even charge guards. Now, I can certainly bet to you guys that Globku and the representatives have been chakra dashing each other a whole bunch during their matches because that is like the main fundamental way to be playing Storm as a whole. And I'm pretty sure Globku would have noticed if there was a dash cut obscuring any of the characters. And I'm sure they've been knocking each other back a lot. And I'm sure that one of these characters, Kawaki or Jigen, they seem like strike back heavy characters. Even the new Boruto would be a strike back, considering the other Borutos are actually strike backs. So knowing that they were on the field and he said that he's seen no strike back, no chakra charging or anything of that nature, is very credible theory that they may have actually just scrapped the support typings altogether, which means that team building is now a lot more free range. So I really appreciate Globku, so big shout out to Globku for answering my questions. Big thank you to you if you're watching this. He said that he's always happy to answer whatever I need. He stated that he actually couldn't have shown what he knew or tested without my lessons with him because I was the one responsible for teaching him about the art of switch tech and all the switch stuff in Naruto Storm 4. So he was able to then communicate this with the representative. One big team effort. But I hope this answers some of the questions. So I think one of the main ones is everybody sort of concerned about the tilts disappearing. Now, the concept of the tilt input is no longer a thing. Obviously, you can do the tilt input of flicking the analog stick and hitting circle, but that's no longer going to work. Now it's more of a case of this is applied, the animation of tilt. So tilts, animations, the jutsus of tilts are still there, just as the second jutsu for our older characters. Now, I can see, now my main question is, how is this going to work in terms of the multiple input tilts? Like, do you have to keep hitting square for the multiple button presses? Like Rock Lee, for example, you gotta hit circle like at least 2 or 3 times for him to do the full backflip cycle and the kick at the end. It's not just one circle input, because some tilts are 1 circle input and some are as far as 3 or 4 circle inputs to do a full tilt. So I'm really intrigued to see how that would translate into the second jutsu. Now, I guess this is just leaving a lot of players wondering, how do we escape guard pressure now? Now, I'm sure this isn't really something I can ask Globku now, because he's only had a set amount of time with the game and he hasn't been able to play it long enough. Thankfully, we do have the Anime Expo coming up on the 1st of July till the 4th of July, where a lot of you guys in North America are able to go ahead and participate in playing the game. So I look forward to hearing everybody's feedback from the top players. I'm looking at you, Falco, and Star Zero Tachi, and even Playco if you're looking at going. And I want to hear all about what your options are on defense as well as your aggressive options, so we can cover this game and have a good idea of what we're stepping into before the game comes out. I also just wanted to state as well, one simple thing is, one thing to consider, and I made a post about this on Twitter literally just hours before making this video, is one thing you gotta consider, guys, is that games are always changing. Naruto Storm 4 back in 2016 is a whole huge landslide of a difference to 2023 Naruto Storm 4. Back in 2016 Storm 4, you were able to counter-attack in the air. When I say counter-attack, you can literally block a chakra dash in the air, instantly hit circle, and get a free air combo off. They have since removed that. And there's lots of other things like counter chakra dashing that you could do in Storm 4 that they have since removed as well. My whole point is that in later patches, you could do these things and they will get removed. So it is likely that this free countering system, if we give them a lot of negative feedback about the free counters and saying, guys, we don't like the free counters, if you were trying to make a competitive based game, this is harming the competitive in our competitive based Storm game, CC2 will definitely be sure to take it out. It's just up to us as a community to civilly respond and, you know, relay that information onto CC2 and Bandai Namco. Senju Japan did actually state that the game will have its full support with patches and updates to make sure that the game is running well. So I'm sure as a community, a collective community, if we make sure that we are civil and respectful enough to relay our answers about the counters, they could be reverted back to only having 2 or 3 at a time. That is everything I had to report. Big thank you to Globku once again for his response. His channel will be in the description. I'll have his and his channel name in the description. You can go ahead and click on that there and go to his channel. He does a variety of anime game news. Anyways, that is everything I have to report today. Thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy Poison Akami. Janet.